Hello Year 10 11, welcome to the first of 5 videos that look through the plot of A Christmas Carol. Each video will focus on one stave, and obviously this video is going to focus on stave 1, and it's going to take the form of these revision clocks. So there'll be 12 points, 12 plot points for each stave, and it will go through chronologically the basic key events that go on throughout each stave. So let's get started. So I've got a ruler. So I'm going to be using my trusty squirrel friend here. It's a coaster, by the way. I don't just have random squares of squirrels running around. Okay, so the first point is we learn that Marley is dead. And he has been for 7 years. Okay, so that's our first key point. We learn that Marley's dead and he has been for 7 years. Okay, the second point is we learn, I promise you we'll start with we learn. We learn that Scrooge is miserly. So if you're not sure what miserly means, that just means that he's not generous with his money. He keeps his money to himself. He is covetous of his wealth. Okay? Third point, our trusty squirrel. We are introduced properly to Scrooge in the third key point. So Scrooge is introduced as cold-hearted, isolated, and disliked by others. Okay, so that's our third key point. Okay, number 4. The narrative moves to the counting house. Okay, which is Scrooge's place of work. Okay, we see how unfairly he treats Bob Cratchit, his clerk. Okay, so that's the fourth point where we get to Scrooge's counting house and we learn how unfairly he treats Bob Cratchit. So we're getting a sense of kind of what sort of employer Scrooge is. Okay, point number 5. Thank you, Squirrel. Okay, Fred visits Scrooge's nephew. Okay, and Scrooge rejects his offer of Christmas dinner. I'm just shortening Christmas here just because my felt tip is making this bigger than I thought. Rejects his offer of Christmas dinner and questions the value of Christmas and love. Again, I'm just doing a heart because I'm in that little bit of room there. Okay, so he questions the value of Christmas and love. Okay, because Scrooge says to him, you know, what reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough. And Fred retorts with, well, what reason of you to be, you know, unhappy? You're rich enough. Okay, Scrooge doesn't get it. He doesn't get like the idea of Christmas, how it makes people happy. Okay. Okay, point number 6. Scrooge is visited by charitable gentlemen. Gentlemen. He rejects their pleas. They're asking him for a donation to help the poor. Okay, and that famous line, Scrooge says, are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? I support those establishments. Okay, he's not interested at all in donating to the poor. Okay, so we're halfway there, folks. Point number 7. Okay, Bob Cratchit asks for Christmas Day off. And Scrooge isn't happy, but he reluctantly agrees. Okay, so let's go off the screen a little bit. So Bob Cratchit asks for Christmas Day off, and Scrooge reluctantly agrees. Okay, point number 8. In point number 8, we're going to talk a little bit about setting. Now, I know that's kind of slightly separate to plot, but this is an important part of the plot. Dickens starts to describe the weather at this point. He describes it as fog and darkness. Okay, this is important. And the reason why it's important is because it creates kind of a sense of doom. It foreshadows what's about to happen. It foreshadows the arrival of Marley and the news that he has for him. So the weather kind of reflects in the mood. That's called pathetic fallacy. We won't focus on that. We're focusing just on plot here. But the weather is important, okay? Foreshadows Marley's visit, which we're going to move on to in a moment. Okay? So, point number 9. Thank you, Squirrel. So, point number 9, Scrooge returns home. And his door knocker momentarily changes to Marley's face. And obviously at this point, Scrooge is very much a non-believer in the supernatural. He dismisses it with a bah humbug, doesn't he? Okay, but that, again, that kind of adds to the weather and its foreshadowing of Marley's visit. Okay, point number 10. Okay, this is where Marley's ghost appears. He warns Scrooge that his past deeds in my room here have created a ponderous chain. So we know that the chain is supposed to represent kind of all the bad things he's done, all of kind of the way that he's hurt people, and it's supposed to represent his guilt. Okay, and this is going to prevent him from getting any peace after death. Okay, and in order to prove that, Marley, lengthen that a little bit. Thank you, Squirrel. And to prove that, Marley takes him to the window and shows him. Also, that was just my chair. Shows him examples of other people who have done things wrong in their life, and they now wear a chain and they cannot find any peace. They see people outside and they want to help them, but they cannot. They're prevented from doing so, and they are forced to kind of wander the afterlife rather than kind of finding that peace after death. Okay, so Marley shows him spectres that roam the afterlife. Okay, and then finally, the stave ends with Marley telling him he'll be visited by 3 spirits. Just about to squeeze that in. Okay, yeah. That's a little bit squashed at the top, but that says the stave ends with Marley telling him he'll be visited by 3 spirits. Okay, so I've done this in felt tips. It shows a little bit better on the video, but obviously you're free to kind of do it in your own pen and highlight it. So that is a revision clock for stave 1. Okay, so what you've got there is all the key events in there. Before you can go on to kind of analysing the language of the stave or looking at characterisation, you need to make sure you know the plot and that you know what's going on. Of course, it's advisable for you to reread A Christmas Carol or read it for the first time if in that case. But this has set out all of the key points in kind of a chronological order, going around in a clock, because obviously one of the key motifs of the novella is the fact that the ghost is signalled by the arrival of the clock striking 1, so I thought it'd be quite useful. Okay, I hope that's been useful. This is about my 20,000th take, so I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you find it useful for your revision. Thank you very much.